Okay, here we go. So this is Alien Hive. So the origins of this movie is that I was reading reviews of this game, and I saw that a lot of people were complaining that this game was kind of impossible, and they didn't know how to make an alien. And I had managed to make an alien, and so I decided to record a video of me doing so that people could look at it and see what the heck's going on. I used a program called Screencast for Android, and it managed to record basically my gameplay on the device. But unfortunately, Screencast does not record sound, so that led to a pretty boring movie. So I decided to go ahead and add some commentary to this video. I'm going to go ahead and give a review because this video is pretty long. For the sake of completion, I went ahead and saved every move that I made so you can kind of see what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. I did time compress it. The full game originally took me about an hour. This is about half an hour because I kind of tried to trim any thinking time down. But I pretty much left everything in. So Alien Hive is a basically it's a match 3 game, so to speak, by appxplore, and it's pretty well done. It's different from other match 3 games in that it uses a mechanism that's similar to those sliding tile games, the match 15. So there's a blank spot on the board, and you can slide pieces or a row into that spot. And then whenever you match 3 items, instead of vanishing, they get merged into one higher leveled item. And the object of the game, if you can say there's an object of the game, is to create an alien. An alien is like a level 7 creature or so. And if on the animal side, if you match your way up to level 7, you get the alien. On the plant side, if you match those things up, you get life, which is more turns. And the highest level item is the purple plant you see on the lower left, which allows you to take a pair of items, 2 items that are touching, and it basically treats it as the third missing item, allowing you to level those up. I used a couple of those during my game. On the bottom, there are other power-ups. Besides the purple item, there is a destroyer item. I don't know the real terms, but which destroys any one object on the screen. You cannot destroy an object that a robot on top is shielding. There's a scrambler, which is in the lower left corner, which basically randomizes the whole board, which I don't really recommend using. Besides that is the bot destroyer, which destroys all robots on the screen, which is quite useful. The third item takes the stage 1 plants and turns them all into stage 2 plants. The next item is the crystallizer, which turns all the stage 1 objects, the eggs, and turns them into crystals. If you match 3 crystals, you get more turns as well. And that is basically just the gameplay. On top, you also see the robots. On each turn, they shield a object. And when I say shield, it means you cannot move that object, which is really annoying. Because you can only... It's quite possible, with too many robots, you can get in a position where you can't really move much at all because all your pieces... if your blank space is around the robots, it can become very difficult to move anything, actually. The robots, if they are on the corners, they fall asleep and do not block anything. Of course, if they're in the top corner and you remove an item, then they will drop down a space and start moving again. So ideally, you kind of pop them down into the lower corners. When you merge 3 robots, they turn into a weird robot face. There's one on the screen right now. If you match 3 robot faces, then they turn into a I forgot what they turn into. You basically get health, and they vanish off the screen. I think you get some kind of item with that too. One of the main things with this game is free, and you can play. The base game, you get 100 turns for your game. And after 100 turns, you run out, and you will get more turns by matching plants and stuff. So it'll turn into more than that. As you see right now, I have like 270 turns or so right now. That's because I gained a bunch of turns matching stuff. Now, at the very beginning of the video, you can purchase a power-up that gives you 50 additional turns for the game, which is pretty useful because you really don't have enough turns. One of the in-app purchases you can buy is one that doubles the amount of starting turns you have. So basically, instead of starting with 100, you start with 200. You are pretty much going to need that to get any aliens, unless you are really, really good. I guess you might not, but my best one so far is 250 turns. But you'll see in this one, I pretty much go almost all the way to the end. At the very end of the game, you will be able to purchase with the in-app gold 50 more turns if you want to continue. And you can only continue once. So the best you can do is 300 turns for your entire game. You run out, that's it, and you start over. Now the gold you can get fairly easily in the game. There is a permanent purchase you can buy to double the amount of gold. Not necessarily critical. I went ahead and got it because it makes things a little easier, and also this is a pretty fun game, so I like supporting developers who make games that I like. So I went ahead and got the double the amount of health and double the amount of gold. And after that, I've not needed to purchase any. You can always buy more gold, but that's kind of needless. You shouldn't have to burn items that bad. It has cute sound. The music gets repetitive. You can't hear either one. There's plenty of other gameplay videos. You can hear it. You're not really missing that much, to be honest with you. So there you go. There's a leveling system. I do not know what it gives you. You do get gold and stuff whenever you advance a level, but outside of that, it doesn't really seem to advance gameplay. Like being a level 7 guy doesn't really benefit you much more than being a level 1 guy, as far as I can tell anyway. The help in the game doesn't really explain anything to you, as far as that goes. So, regarding gameplay, one of the most important things, and one of the reasons this video is so long, is that you really have to rely on combos. When you match, when you match 3 pieces, it merges them into one, and then pieces will drop down to fill in the spaces made by the other 2. Now, ideally, when the pieces drop down like that, you have a combo. And combos are pretty important because they save turns. You know, if you get like a ton of combos, you know, those are matches that you get without having to move pieces yourself. So you really want to set yourself up to get as many combos as possible. And the way to do that, there's 2 factors to do that. The pieces that drop down from the sky, so to speak, are usually level 1 or level 2 objects, okay? So you really want to get your higher level objects. Like you hear, I have the 2 faces and the 2 high level purple green plants. Those are the last phase of the plants, actually. You really want to get those on the bottom of the screen. You want to get your lower leveled items on top, and your bottom level ones on the bottom. because the lower level ones are going to fall down from this top, and those are the ones that you want to match. Imagine if you had all high level ones on top and low level ones on the bottom. When low level ones fall down from the top, they're not going anywhere. So it helps to keep your higher level items on the bottom. And also that way, when the lower leveled items merge and become a higher leveled object, ideally it will fall down and merge with other higher leveled objects as well. Oh, that's the other thing I didn't mention yet. This is a wormhole. Now, after a certain amount of turns, this wormhole activates. And when you trigger it like this, you are allowed to move a row. This is as the way you would move a row in a standard match 3 puzzle. That is the only time that you can move a row. Otherwise you can only move it according to the blank spot. The wormhole time is the only time you can move any piece you want. So it is pretty useful. Now, I'm not like a particularly great player or anything. I'm sure there are players much better than me. But what I did with them was I used it to kind of clean up my board. I didn't really use them so much to make matches, but I used them to, for example, push my robots down to the bottom, to the corners, where they're out of the way. And just getting the robots on the edge helps a lot, because that way they can only block 3 directions or 2 directions at once. Another thing about the robots as well is that if 2 of them are touching, only one of them will move around and block items. The other one will fall asleep, basically. So it's nice to have 2 robots touching each other. Not to mention, ideally you match them off in a triplet, and so that's another good reason to get 2 robots together. So as you can see here, I've pushed the 2 heads down to the bottom. The cocoon is the second to last phase of the alien, so he's pushed on the bottom too. It's also kind of nice if you can get a robot on the bottom to put a high-level object next to him, one that you're probably not going to have to move around so much, so if the robot blocks it, it's not really such a big deal. In terms of basic overall strategy, I think those are the most important things that I used. There is an additional purchase you can make called the core wormhole, which apparently I didn't buy it, so I don't know exactly what it does. But what I think it does is if you click on a crystal, it'll cause other crystals to move towards that crystal. So it helps consolidate items together and match them up in case they're spread all over the place. But hopefully, ideally, you don't play in a way that they are spread all over the place. So hopefully that's not really needed. And that's also why the scrambler is pretty bad, because, ideally you have your pieces kind of sorted, and you really don't want it getting all randomized with the scrambler. So, you want to be pretty efficient in terms of your turns, obviously. Trying not to waste too much time trying to, kill robots, or don't get too hung up on the pieces around the robots, because they tend to be blocked and tend to be pretty hard to manipulate. I tend to kind of ignore the robots as much as possible. If I can get them together, great. If not, usually one or two things will happen for me. First I just ignore them. And after there's like 3 or 4, and they start to be a pain in the ass, either A, I'll get a wormhole, and I use the wormhole to move them together and get rid of them. Or 2, I just blast them with the bot blaster. You'll see in this game, I think I used the bot blaster like 4 or 5 times. Now, the items do use turns, so you got to be careful. Not to mention, they bleed money. So I wouldn't get really hyper-aggressive with the items until you have a lot of money. When you do finally get aliens, the aliens will give you bonuses to your game. Like one of them, the first one you get, permanently gives you 5 extra turns per game, which is kind of nice. The second one I got gives me extra points per game, which doesn't help you win, but whatever. So each of the aliens, and those seem to be permanent forever for every game you play after the first. What else? I'll also go ahead and say that this game was played on the Galaxy Note 2. It's nice. It's pretty nice. This game has pretty big icons and stuff, but it's still nice to play on the big screen. It's just simply easier. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else particularly interesting that I'm going to say. I've only gone 15 minutes so far, so there's another 10 minutes of this. I have gone ahead and left all the turns in, and so you can see all the combos that occur. They are pretty important. You should get a lot of them. On a good game, I already have that cocoon, and I still have about 200. I still have about 200 turns left in my main game, and I already have cocoon. That would be considered a good run. Another thing, I guess, is, I think a decent part of this game is you want to have active working space on the field. Okay, so you don't want to have like, see, right now I have like these pink devil guys, and they're together so that they can be matched. You really don't want pieces spread out all over the place. Like you don't want a devil guy on the left side and a devil guy on the right side, and they're hard to match, and they are just eating up space on the board. So that's less room for pieces that you can match. You really want to keep pieces together on the board so that they can be paired off. So when you move pieces, you should always kind of be thinking ahead, like how much of this row, to fill up this blank space, am I going to move the entire row over? Am I going to move one piece over, 2 pieces over? Usually the number of pieces you move, there's 2 factors involved. Number 1 is just looking ahead after I move 4 pieces. Can I make, you want to set up your next turn. What am I going to do after this turn? Ideally, your next turn is matching something up. But there is the other case where maybe you're going to move, you're going to slide, your higher level pieces down, your lower level pieces up, and like that purple guy, the pink devil guy in the lower right corner, I'd rather move him up towards the other pink guy. I don't really want to move him down if I can avoid it. Just trying to keep stuff together. In addition, I think keeping in terms of the keeping higher level pieces lower on the board. In this case right now, I have 5 eggs. This is just something I was thinking of today. It probably would have been a better move to match the lower 3 eggs, not the higher 3 eggs, because you want your lower level pieces on top, not on the bottom like they are now. So I think, if I could go back, whatever, I would try to match the lower 3. But I think that's basically it. I think the most important thing basically is to keep your board as clean as possible and as ordered as possible. And if you do that, then combos will naturally happen. There's a lot of 3 combos in this game, and they're not combos I'm trying to do. They're just combos that naturally happened as a result of keeping pieces together. And I think combos are a pretty huge part of this game. I think I'm gonna wrap up. I don't really have anything too much more interesting to say about this game. It's a pretty good game though. Give it a try. You should download it and give it a try. And if you like it, throw the developer a couple bucks and buy the 200 gold start and get yourself some aliens. It's pretty satisfying getting your first alien. And I guess that's a wrap. I hope this video is useful for somebody. It was pretty much a pain in the ass to white space trim, but if someone can get some use out of it, then that would be pretty cool, I think. So there you go, and enjoy. Hey, I'm back. I thought of a couple more things that I wanted to talk about as I was reviewing my last audio. Also, I made a bunch of mistakes in terms of terminology, but I think people know what I'm talking about. One subtle thing that I thought was helpful is that you are trying to work your way up to the top. You're trying to, get the stage 7 alien, right? So that requires a lot of objects to match up. You have to match up a lot of animals to get that. It's kind of like 3 to the power of... It's not 3 to the power of 7, but almost. So for the animals, okay, you don't really want to match up more than 3 at a time. Like if you need 6, if you have 6 eggs, okay, you can match them up. You can get 2 matches to get 2 of these light bulb looking things. Okay. You don't want to just match them up in one sweep and get only 1 light bulb, because that's not good. Ideally you want to match them up in 3s. You don't want to get match 4s. You don't want to get match 5s. Now the plants, on the other hand, I do recommend matching as many as possible, because it gets them off the board. It gives you extra turns, and it gets the maximum number off the board as quickly as possible. Ideally, you want to spend most of your turns matching up the animals, because you match up all the plants, you get the magic plant. Okay, big whoopee deal. Ideally, you want to match up all your animals and get the alien. The alien is permanent. So think about that. Regarding the robots, when there's only 1 or 2, keep an eye on how they shield. They always shield in a... They change objects in a counterclockwise rotation. So make sure you pay attention to that. Where they are this turn. When you move, what is he going to be shielding next? Okay, there's nothing more annoying than saying, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this next turn. And you do the first thing, and you realize, oh, damn it, the guy's now shielded and blocked my second move. That'll drive you crazy. It is actually surprisingly difficult to get 3 robots together into one match, because they start blocking everything, they start blocking each other, and it's a pain in the ass. You try to push them together, but that's why I tend not to. Maybe I'm just not any good at it, but that's why I try not to waste too much time matching robots together. I just wait for the wormhole, or I bot blast them. That's just the easiest way. I suppose with practice it might get easier, but it's something to deal with. The last thing I will say is that I find it very, very useful to use magic plants to match up for the win. Like you'll see when I win this, I just magic plant my way up to the win, because it is a lot of work to get to the I don't know what the final thing is called. After the cocoon, there's some kind of flying creature, and after that flying creature, that's when you win. That's the alien. Okay. But the baby alien, that's what I'll call it. After the cocoon is this baby alien thing. Getting 3 of those is tough. Getting 2 of them is getting 1 of them is already takes some work. Getting 2 of them is a ton of work. So, you know, what you want to do, and forget about getting 3. I don't think anyone will ever get 3 legitimately with, with only having 200, 300 turns. Okay, so what you do is you get 2 of those baby aliens, and then use the magic plant to make the match. Okay, and what that really means is you need 1 baby alien and 2 cocoons and 2 magic plants, right? Because you use 1 magic plant to merge the cocoons into the baby alien, and then you have 2 baby aliens, and then you use a magic plant on the 2 baby aliens, and then you get the final alien, okay? And then you can extend that. If you have enough magic plants, realistically, all you need is the 1 baby alien, 1 cocoon, 1 of the pre-cocoon animals, whatever, okay? And then at the end of the day, you just magic plant your way up to the end. That's the way to go. And that's what I did in this video. You'll see. So there you go. So God help you if you have 3 cocoons and you merge all 3 of them. That'd be a bad thing, okay? You magic plant 2 of the cocoons to get the baby alien, and then you're in real good shape to win the game. Yeah, I think that those are the only 3 things I thought of while I was watching the video. All right, good luck.